Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of Unity 2D Tutorials Tower Defense game. In this episode we're gonna create enemies. And what I mean by this is, as you can see, the enemy will be going forward and then it will interact with the towers, I want to say shooting items. This is cool, right? They have movement speed, they have health. Let's see how it works. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is we need to find out our enemies. Here we go. We got our B-boy and our sluggish. So all the enemies, they're gonna have attributes, and the attributes are gonna be common in my case. So I'm gonna create one script for all the enemies, and the attributes will be health, movement speed, and attack power. I think that should cover everything. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a script, call it enemy. I'm gonna call it simply as enemy. You can have separate scripts if you want, if you have different mechanics for each enemy. For me, my both enemies are going to be slightly moving forward, and then that's it. So let's go ahead and create add health, um, attack power, and as I said, move speed. That's good. So let's make it public. Health should be integer, and then attack power integer. But I'm gonna go with float for the move speed. Okay, that's good. The next thing we need to do is we need to create a script for moving forward. I know the bee does not move, it flies, but I'm just saying. And the second thing would be is if you remember from the previous script, tutorials, we've got one tower, which is going to be this ninja guy. He throws stuff. So these stuff, they fly forward and hit something. And that thing is going to be the enemy. So before jumping ahead, I'm going to create something here called uh, get hit, or actually let's lose health if you get hit. Okay, the next thing we need to do is we need to create the mechanics slowly. So for moving forward, we're going to create a script called move. That's it. Simply as this, move. And since we're going to have them moving from right to left, as opposed to the left to right, let's go do this thing. Transform dot translate. Let's go with transform dot right, but we have to put it in a way that it goes left. So there's nothing called transform to left, but we put transform to right, and then we put minus behind it so it goes to left. And we multiply it with the movement speed with time dot delta time. And believe it or not, this is everything for the movement. For losing health, lose health. First of all, we're gonna have to decrease health value. Second of all, we have to do some sort of a, like the simplest animation is blink red animate, like blink red, that's it, animation. And the last thing is check if health is 0, destroy enemy. Simple. So first of all, let's decrease the health by writing health minus minus, and then we have to do something which indicates there's like it's getting hit, and the simplest way is to just blink it red and back to its normal state. To do this, we need to create an enumerator from which we're gonna have to, let's call it blink red. From here, what I'm gonna do is change the sprite renderer color to red. I'm gonna show you what I mean by this is if I put the enemy in here, all right, so we got the enemy. So it's gonna be as quick as make it red and then white again, that's it. So we just need to change this color component. Change it to red and then wait for really small amount of time, and then revert to default color, which is white. All right, so what we need to do is we need to go get component sprite renderer, all right, and then go color equals, and you can choose something called color dot and type the color name. This is Unity based. We make it red, and then we have to wait for a really small amount of time, which I'm assuming it's gonna be 0.2 seconds, like 0.2 seconds. So I think you can put it 1 if you want, but I think 0.2 is enough. Then we have to revert back to the original color, which is white. Good, good, good. So the blink red animation, we're gonna have to call this coroutine by writing start coroutine blink red. That's good. And then the last thing we have to do is check if the health is gone. If so, kill this game object. So we go if health minus or equals to 0. It's better to have less. We just destroy game object. So what this means, if we reach the health of 1, nothing happens, just blinks, and then reach 0, boom, destroy everything. Believe it or not, this is everything that we need in this enemy for now. Let's save it, go back here, and let's go back, open our enemy. So let's drag and drop both, let's grab both of them and create new component and then click enemy. So so we got this guy, right? And then we got the slug. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna make sure that the bee moves faster but has less health and less attacks power. But the slug moves slower but has more health and its attack power is slightly more than the bee. Quite easy. So this is the bee. Let's give it, let's say 1 health. I think that's enough. And the attack power, let's give it also 1. The movement speed, let's make sure it's 0.5. For this one, let's give it health of 2, attack power of 2 also, and a movement of 0.2. You know what, before we do anything, let's see how it looks here. We've already have the spawn mechanics, so it's spawning, I assume. Oh, of course, it's not moving. I just remember what I did. We're not calling the move method. So what we need to do is void update. That's my bad. And then call move. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this on the right side and keep the scene view on the left side. See, I can click my face. Beep, beep, beep. There we go. Let's see how it works. Play. So initially, the game waits 2 seconds and then starts spawning the enemies. Like 1, 2. Here we go. Here comes the bee. Another bee. Slug. You can see the slug slightly slower. I think it's way too slow. Okay, so I've noticed 2 things. The spawn amount is way too slow. They're spawning way too frequent. So let's make it double the time, 4 seconds. And make sure that the slug is moving slightly slower while the bee is moving a bit too fast. I think that would be enough. Let's see how it works. Let's see. Okay, here comes the bee. The speed is decent. Another bee comes. It's a good time to react to build stuff, whereas the slug is slightly slower. Good, good, good. So right now the enemy is going to keep on going forward without any interactions, which we will not cover in this episode. We'll cover it in the later ones. And by interactions, I mean what happens if it comes close to a tower? What happens if it comes to the end? Where you lose health. So these things we'll do them in the next episode. But in this episode, we're gonna handle the losing health. And by losing health, I mean we've got this guy who shoots an item, right? And I'm gonna show you what I mean by this. He shoots some kind of a ninja, some rotating thing. Here we go. Just wait for a couple of seconds and then boom, here we go. So you see this element? This element flies and it's supposed to hit the enemy, which is correct. And apparently the scales of the thing is a bit too much. Just make sure it's actually a proper size. So it's 0.2 is good. And let's open the script and see what I have here. So what we have here is it's rotating and it's flying forward. And it's detecting two things out, which means it's going outside the game view and it's getting destroyed. But here, if we're touching the enemy, we just debug and destroy the object, which is correct. But before we destroy the object, we need to call the enemy, this one, lose health. It's quite simple. So we have this collision object as a reference. We have to get component, enemy, and then lose health. I think I didn't make it public. Yes, it's not public. So since now it's public, we can call lose health. Here we go. So this will make sure that we call this method, which is going to decrease the health, and that's everything. But since we're using physics, this one has rigid body and collider, which is perfect. But our enemies, I assume they don't have any colliders. Yep, it's just a script with a sprite renderer. So what we need to do is we need to add a collider. You can put it circle or like circle if you like. It doesn't matter. I'm going to use box. Oops, box 2D collider, and I'm going to decrease it slightly to the size of the B. That's good enough. And make sure it's trigger. But before we move to the next enemy, we have to create a tag. Call it enemy and assign it to our B enemy, because we're checking if the collision tag is enemy, we had it. So next one will be the slug. The slug, let's make a box and let's play with the value manually to make sure down is fine. It's not going outside the bound. Let's make it trigger and enemy. If I'm not mistaken, we can now hit those enemies without any problem. So let's spawn one of the money builder and let's wait for the enemy to show up. Here we go. Let's build our ninja here. So this guy is giving us money. This guy is going to shoot. Here we go. Boom. Let's build another one up top here. Boom. Death. See, twice. But this one takes one hit. Let's build one here. Build this one here. So you see now we've got some mechanics of the game going forward, which is good. See that these things going. Oop. So now it's really easy, but I would suggest that you make it more difficult by increasing the speed, the interval of the spawning, or even um, the power of this thing here. So make them more powerful, the enemy. They take more time to die. Actually, it's way too easy. I think the proper approach would be if we make this enemy health 4, actually 3, and this one 2. So let's spawn the game again. I know I'm playing. I just enjoy it. So first of all, let's build this guy for... Okay, here we go. So we'll build this shoot guy here, and then let's build another one on top. It's going to be a close call. Why? Because we've got this guy coming here. So now you see it's becoming a bit more interesting. And that's what you need in your game. You make it more interesting and then playable. I think that's all for this episode. We were able to create a proper enemy mechanics. It will be the initial one. For later on, we're going to create interactions. What I mean by this is what happens if the enemy touches the tower, and then what happens if it goes beyond and then enters our, I want to say, safe area, which is going to cause us health. All that will be in the next episode, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know I did. And if you did, hit the like and subscribe. Otherwise, if you got any more questions, hit the comments below or join our Discord channel to just enjoy our community and also to be able to ask questions. And then we've got a lot of people who can help there. And apart from this, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.